Well, alright. This was another big project that I did that didn't really take off too much. I made it for a buddy at work, and the buddy at my workplace has some really fancy videos so we can sell our product better. And this is a tool called POV-Ray. What POV-Ray does is, by code, it makes these really nice images. And so there's you can see the code here. It's kind of simplistic, but it can get ridiculously unsimplistic. So, anyways, look at how long it's taking this to make this single frame. It is just simply the word Robomatics against a white background on top of a white plane, so I can get a nice little shadow effect, and it's a little reflective on the text. And this kind of processing power is all CPU. The graphics card doesn't affect this at all. So the more powerful your CPU and the more cores it has, the better it can make these images. So say you want to make a video like this guy. This is a video that I made using the same kind of software that my buddy at work uses. It's basically a kind of automation layout kind of thing, and you can just see some letters going around the conveyor, and it goes and it goes. And this kind of video, though, will take like days to render. Like, I kid you not, this will take a long stinking time. So how do you get around making really fancy videos that'll sell product that takes days to make? Well, you can either buy a supercomputer to do it for you, and that'll cost you some cash, or you can get a whole bunch of regular or small computers and make them do it for you. So basically you're distributing all of those frames one by one to every computer. So now this would be like this is more or less that same thing. This is okay, yeah, so it is that same one. Huh. Anyways, it makes a whole bunch of frames here, and I have in this video about 2,500 frames, and there is an INI file that says, you know, which is the starting frame, which is the end frame, which size to make it, and a couple other things. And then the POV file has like it's really just the master POV file. POV file is a POV-Ray file that this POV-Ray understands, and it also I guess enumerates all the frames for that as well. But all the individual frames are held within here doing this. So now let's get on to the Visual Basic, you know, the real stuff you came for. This is the program I made, where it is a server and a client. So this is the server side, and the idea here is you simply give it a name like Robomatics will be the name of this. And I can either use a network path so that all the clients will save their resultant images to a network path, or I can create a share folder on this machine and just have it, the other guys dump to this share folder. Now I've had a lot of issue with the share folder not working right. Let's choose share path. And so now I want to use a source, and this would be the POV-Ray file. For whatever reason, the output of the program we use at work has a left and a right. Whatever, don't care, just want the regular POV-Ray. So when we open that, it's going to read through the POV-Ray file and then tell me how many frames I have. So here's all the frames within here, and you can see there's the 1820 one. I must have chosen a different one, but anyhow, I can also choose the width and the height. Now I got to add my clients. Now this portion I'm pretty proud of. This is automatically adding clients just by them being on the network. It's like an auto sign up. So what this piece does here is it lists all my brain fart, all my network adapters, and if I choose the wrong one, it's not going to like it. It's got to, you know, give me a valid one. Okay. So now, if I go to my desktop and I open up the client side, it's just simply, oh, bam, it's right there. So nice. So the way that works is by UDP multicast. And UDP multicast is giving me a lot of issue just trying to get that stupid thing to work. So I haven't made a video about it because I can't get to work 100% of the time. For whatever reason, one computer will talk fine to the other, but the other one won't talk back in the same manner. It's really odd. UDP multicast kicks my butt. But for some instances like this, I got it to work. So let me show you the client side. This would be the client side. And now, for whatever reason, probably the same stupid reason, I can't get the same computer. If I have a client and a server running on the same computer, it won't just automatically add itself. So to fix that, I can add myself. I can just simply grab the server name, which is myself, dump it there to add, and hit add. So now I can take this port A, port B here, dump that 101.03, 101.04, and connect. And it'll throw a connection, and then they make a connection, and they're happy. Sweet. So now I have two computers signed up for the POV-Ray stuff. Now all really I have to do is just hit start. And with this, it'll, I don't know why duration didn't work quite like that, but after that, it'll start. Oh, yep, there goes POV-Ray. It opens it up. Oh yeah, see, so this was a different video I was going through. It'll just start rendering out this one thing here. So this is kind of the same thing. It's a single rotating conveyor, as you saw previously, with letters, blue letters on it, and just go around and just fall off. Now, the thing about POV-Ray is it doesn't really matter the size of the image you're trying to create. It's I've done the same video, it's very small. I've done it this large, and it seems that whatever frame size you use, it still takes the same amount of dumb time. But radiosity is what's taking this guy so long. Radiosity makes it look really nice, but it takes forever to do. So anyhow, that guy's gonna start, and yeah. So I'm not going to worry about that. So I'm going to hit stop there. Hey, it's a cat. Anyways, where was I going with this? I'm going to hit stop now. And so it'll start. Oh, man. Darn it. That's right. It will actually, my client will actually restart if something happens. So I'm just simply going to close the client and not worry about it. And it'll record the start time, the finish time, and the duration between the current time and the start time. And when the frame is complete, it will say done and I think copied maybe, and it'll say who rendered it, be it either my desktop or my laptop. And then it'll add here is working on frame number 1, and then when it completes, it adds to that frame number. So that's pretty cool. So this is the POV-Ray distribution. Oh yeah, one more thing. This is a progress bar. It'll actually fill up with all the frames that get done. So that's pretty much it for that. There is one more thing I wanted to show you on the client side before we get to the code. The POV-Ray engine setup. This is where you would choose under, I guess, your file folder, which POV-Ray engine you wanted to use when you downloaded POV-Ray, be it the 32-bit or the 64-bit. I don't know what this is. So also when you open it, it configures the INI file that POV-Ray runs off of as a setup to basically get rid of some stuff that pops up when you don't want it to pop up and other junk like that. So anyhow, let's get to the code here. I will go ahead and close this, and let's start with the server side. So I'm just kind of going to go a brief description through this huge program. They're about 570 odd lines of code a piece, the server and the client. And so yeah, this is again what I do for my big programs, to put a to-do list on the top of it. This never got to. Who cares? So anyhow, going through, here's some basic stuff about the current thing, and then here is the list of all the frame things. So in that data grid view that showed all the frame information, this is all that information about all the frames. I hold it there. And so the same thing with the client stuff. I have all the client stuff held in these. And then I have just some other basic kind of stuff. And then down here I have the UDP connection information. So I have publishers, subscribers, my computer name, the start port, and the network adapters. So on the start of my program, I pull all the network adapters, I get my own computer name, throw it into a text box, And then for the MC pub, which is my multicast publisher, I'm going to say this is my multicast address, and I want a time to live of 4, so 4 jumps. It really shouldn't get past 1, to be honest. It says enable broadcast, is not blocking, receive timeout is 100, not exclusive use, and it can loop back so that the client can see the server on the same computer. And then I add all those adapter connections to that combo box. And so let's see here. Oh yeah, I also have settings in here so that when I pull it back up, it remembers what I last had it on. So, well, that's cool. Okay, upon clicking the source button and the source open file dialog, I have a open file dialog for the source and a folder browse dialog for making the share folder. So one of these two guys. And also a timer that kind of keeps watch over all that crap. So let's see here. What have I got in all this? Oh yeah, it's radio button 1 checked, and this is the share folder. Now this is all the garbage that you need to go through. Oh my gosh, it's terrible to make a share folder. And I mean, this works. It'll make a folder and it'll share it out. But for whatever reason, it doesn't share to everyone, and that's something unique to like Windows 7 and beyond, where it won't just share to everyone. It shares to like a specific group of people or something. It shows it on the network, but you still have to have a login. So that's the unfortunate downside, is that even though not everyone can connect to your computer from anywhere, it still needs a login to access your computer. And if it's not radio button 1, it's something else, of course it'd be radio button 2, they would just simply put it on the network share, and that's all that is. So real easy. So once the source file has been gotten handled, we do, at the end of that, we enable the timer and we call frame read. Now frame read takes up from the same folder, there should be that INI file that says minimum and maximum frame, which we're looking for those. Actually, not minimum, maximum, final frame. I guess I'm just truly looking for the final frame to know how many frames I got. So from this source list, I put this huge name string in there so that when I find a file with the INI that says contains INI and is less than the character count of name, then I know I found the INI I was looking for. It's a real dumb method. I'm sure I could have chosen a better method to do that, but you know, whatever. So I read that file and then I look through all the lines for something that says final frame. And once I find it, I take an integer and I take the substring starting at the known character and dump that into an integer frame count. Therefore, I know how many frames I have, and then I can start adding all the frames into all that. I can start adding the structure of frames for all the frame stuff I created. So let's see, timer 1 tick. This is basically to monitor the UDP side, all the connection, whatnot. And let's see here. This MC or multicast sub receive. Yeah, what this is doing is looking for multicast. It's not really multicast though. It's, if I come back up here, where is it? I really should like close these things down when I'm done going through them. Anyhow. Okay, so this is the string, receive bytes. And basically what I'm doing is I'm getting the IP address of the computer. The client sends me its IP address, and I go, oh, okay, well then you can have these ports, and I assign it the ports right there, and then I'll send it back saying, you know, use these ports, and I'll go, oh, okay. And then I set up a regular connection, not a multicast connection, but a regular connection, and so it adds to a list of UDP clients. It's pretty confusing. I'm not going to go through the whole thing like I normally would, just because this is a big program, and y'all are going to lose interest if I don't, make this quick. Anyways, is it complete? This is a quick check to see if all the frames are accounted for, and if they are, then we stop everything and we say POV-Ray complete. Draw progress. This is just that little black bar at the bottom that shows the progress. Easy enough. And then for 0 to the number of clients, I'm looking to see or send, this would be if the client doesn't have any frame, the source is good, I have total to start, the file search is good and all that stuff, then I give it the next appropriate frame. And very cool, I also get the width and the height from the numeric up and downs, and then I throw that to say this is my little starting packet. It'll say that's a start because I wanted, I chose a character out of random, the percentage sign, then POV-Ray distribution, and then the sign again. I use this sign for split commands. I can split a single string into multiple strings and ignore this, and then just use these sections as individual strings. And it makes it easier for breaking out long strings. So I give the job name, I give it the network share if it has one. If not, I just throw double quotes in there for basically nothing. Give the width, the height, and the frame number. Because at the beginning of each client, when the client hooks on and I hit the start button, then the client will actually copy from the share directory, because it will actually create a share directory and then copy all of the information to that share directory and then dump it into the client. And then the client will then choose which frame to do based off this one. So the client has all the frames already. And I guess you could make this lighter, but more coding if you just wanted to send one frame file over at a time. Anyhow, this is receiving the UDP and is also sending it. So it's going to send the command that was given and then receive if there's anything in the UDP buffer per each one. And so if the client is just simply saying I'm connected, it'll look like this, and then we can say client connected is true. And if the client is sending the PVD percentage %F, then I know that is finished a frame. I update the frame information and some of the client stuff too, and then I also have an acknowledge in there where it spits back something or other, and I give it an acknowledge or something like that. It's basically to say, oh, okay, I see that you're working on this stuff now. Alright, so that's cool. Now, frame finder. What was this guy? File search, blah, blah, blah. Oh, okay. So basically, if I set up, say the server crashed, and I had 1,000 of 1,010 frames done, and I wanted the last 10 frames done, what this would do is it would search through the current job and see which frames have actually completed, as far as ones that end, in the word PNG, because PNG is the image type that it spits out. So it looks through all those, see which ones have been completed, and then we'll change the status to found, and then just consider them done by saying frame done. Okay, and then data grid view update. This basically just updates like the time span stuff. That is like duration. I think it's just duration. Yeah, I think that's it. Maybe some other stuff. So anyways, let's get to the multicast whatnot. Okay, so alright, if I were to add the client manual like I had to do with my own computer, basically it is something that says, is there anything there? If not, then don't worry about it. If there is, call connect. And here's connect right beneath it. And so connect is looking for an IP address. And so this is something I actually found good here for other applications that use IP address chatting. It's basically, it pings things. So I can ping the client just to make sure that it's a valid IP address. I can see it, and it can probably see me. If I can ping him, he can probably ping me, so I'm not going to worry about it. Actually, I do worry about it now that I think about it. And so once I ping it, I add him to there, and I add saying, you know, your ports are no longer usable. And let's see, I set up the new publisher for that guy, a new subscriber. These are both UDP client types, so I have a publisher and a subscriber for that guy. I add some client stuff about him, and I update the DGV, the data grid view client. Yeah, okay. Let's shrink that down, go to the next one. Oh yeah, delete client. This will remove that client. If you happen to be working on something, then it would actually take care of that frame, like this right here. If the frame working were tied to that client, see the client crashed midway through rendering a frame, then you could get rid of the client and it would recover that frame. So that was a cool feature I liked. This is some job name, whatnot. It enables some stuff. Start, stop, it enables some stuff. It's a push button, whatever. Network path, choose, that's fine. It opens the dialog. And let's see. Yeah. So, jiggy jiggy jiggy. What else? I'm not gonna worry about that. My brain is starting to fry over from this stupid long tutorial. Anyways, connection set. This is some more of the multicast stuff. Multicast group. Yeah, so basically this sets up the connection for multicast, and also will, when you choose your appropriate connection, it'll reapply all this stuff, and if it's good, and if there's no error within this try, it'll mark this as a green check mark. If there is an error, it'll mark it as a red X. So there you are. Okay, my goodness. Onto the client. Still with me? Cool. Good job. So in the client, we have basically some frame-specific stuff instead of some job-specific stuff. I still have my UDP stuff in here, and I have that multicast sub in there as well. And the multicast sub basically replies over multicast back to the server to say, oh, I'm here, accept me, you know, love me, whatever. Let's see. So this is setting the job name. And let's see, render start. Now, render start takes the, this is some stuff that would be defined by the receive. Let's see if I can't find that receive stuff first. I guess that would be under the, not that guy, the other, yeah, Udp Timer Tick. So upon a UDP Timer Tick, we're looking for all those stuff that I said earlier that says, you know, hey, connect to me, and hey, this is what you were looking for. And so this would be if the receive contains that percentage J, then I know what we're looking for. So the receive lines is an array of strings, and this is that split command I was telling you about. The split command basically breaks out that percentage sign and then breaks it into the specific strings. Now, I think 0 would have been like nothing, 1 would have been PVD, and then 2 would have been DJ whatever. And so basically job name, I'm grabbing that from line 2 of the receive strings, substring 1, because I want to take the J out. I don't need anything before I don't need the J. And then the following one would be the network path, if any, widths, heights, in the frame. And then I'm going to reply with the string I'm working on, this guy in this frame. And that goes back to the server. And let's see, what else? If the frame's done, this is the section that says the frame has been completed. And, yeah, there's also some stuff, you know, when it does finish, it tries to copy back the frame that it did back into the server. And if for whatever reason it can't do that, it throws a fault. And it doesn't actually throw a fault. It shows you by some red text that it's not happy, but it'll actually keep rendering. It'll actually keep rendering until you tell it to stop. It'll just hold all the images that it rendered on itself, and you can grab those later, so as not to disrupt your, you know, your POV-Ray. Now this is the connection button. In case you needed to manually edit. And then this is the connection, basically setting up the connection to the server once we have appropriate ping that we're good. So it does actually ping it back. Then we set up the publisher and the subscriber, which would be the talk to and hear from, if you will. And we bind to that, we connect to it, and we are good to go. So that's basically just setting up the UDP. That isn't the multicast portion, that's just the regular UDP portion. Now, directory copy, I'm not actually entirely sure if I use this. It basically copies the contents of a directory into itself. Actually, I think what I ended up doing was copying with a different copy method. I was having an issue. Remember, if you've seen that video at the beginning, it had like flashing black underneath the line of it. I think it's because I was copying the image before it was actually ready. So I was messing with that with directory copy, but I think I solved that. I think I did. Now, anyways, timer multicast subscriber tick. This is the multicast subscriber for the multicast chat. You know, I'm on the network. Who's there? Oh, there's the server, and the server says, "Oh, hi." And the subscriber's all like, yeah, I want to help you out. And the server's like, oh, cool, thanks, bro. And so that's what this portion is. It's basically the talk back and forth for the multicast subscription. This I'm actually quite proud of. You know, if multicast wasn't entirely too difficult to get to work for you when you wanted it to. And this sets up the multicast subscription. Basically the same thing where you're setting which adapter you want to use. You know, this same thing again. So there we are. Happy check mark. We like the wireless because that's the only thing we're actually connected on. If I were to choose the LAN cable, it wouldn't be happy because it's not really connected to LAN cable. So there we are. And now file in use. This file in use, I think that was just something I used earlier to make sure I wasn't. Yeah, here we are. So I'll get back up to that in a minute. Coming back down from the top again, render start. Render start basically finds that INI file that we were originally given and sets the start frame and the end frame to that single frame. We don't want to do any other frame. And we also set the height and the width. And then we write to that same file that same thing. And then we do a process start. And we're going to start the POV-Ray executable, which I have saved in my settings. And then I'm also going to have these /render and then /ini. And that tells it what file to open. Now, you can probably have some other processes open in the same way that open a file. Similarly, you just got to find the appropriate command, like I have here. And then that starts the timer for POV monitoring. So once the process has been started, let me get to that in a second. This is the stuff that takes care of other stuff. So anyhow, we've set the POV to start, and we're basically going to just watch it. And for whatever reason, if it goes like over a minute and it hasn't, you know, the file hasn't shown up as there, then we can restart it by doing the same thing of process start rendering. And that was because the case of POV-Ray sometimes didn't want to start, or for whatever reason I needed to ask it twice. So, you know, if it's taking over longer than a minute, send it again. And if it's already going, then it'll just ignore this. So that's cool. And so now what I'm looking for is I'm looking for my output path. I'm looking for that file that I'm expecting, that PNG file, to be done. And if it's there and it's not in use, and that's what that file in use thing was at the very bottom here, then, okay, and this file wasn't in use, then that means I'm good to go, and I will count it done, and then send that back to the server, and then copy it to the server. And it should be good to go after that. Let's see, that's unimportant. I already went over this. Max frames. This is counting the max frames, and I forget why I cared about max frames on the client side, so maybe I'll find it later. Continuing on though, on the client side, Yeah, okay, here's the last thing. When you push the POV engine setup, it brought up this and it asked you what you were looking for. That was basically also set up the, where that process is so that I can start it. And also, I take the same thing and look for, under my documents, there should be a folder called POV-Ray. And under that POV-Ray folder should be an INI called pvengine.ini. And upon your first running of POV-Ray, pvengine.ini isn't there. So you have to run POV-Ray first to get that file to appear because it generates it. And so anyways, once I found that INI file, and we're all good, then we start the the INI setup process. And I'm just going to close these guys real quick. Okay, now in the INI, there's a whole bunch of little things in it and that need to get set that I don't have to worry about them later, and that something pops up saying, oh, hey, about that. But it always has the option that I can say, yeah, don't worry about it. And so this is the don't worry about it stuff. Now, what I'm doing is I'm reading the INI file and dumping it into a list of files, a list of strings. And I'm going through that list and I'm saying, is this line contain permitted input paths? Or does this line contain permitted output paths? And if it does, then I'll actually want to add to the next line, C is a good input path, C drive is a good output path. And then there's some other stuff that says hide new user help. Then, yeah, I actually want to rewrite that to hide new user help equals 1. So I want it hidden. I don't want to see it. It's stupid. And then if, any one instance thing, this is the one instance. If I tell it to render something and 1 minute passes and it's not time to tell it to render again, if I don't have this one instance thing set, it'll actually open up 2 windows. It doesn't actually ignore it. I have to tell it to ignore it. And so there we are. And let's see. Oh, this was some firewall stuff I was doing to see if I couldn't help that whole network mess out. But you can actually add firewall happiness with these commands, so that's pretty cool. But anyways, oh my gosh, I'm finally done. That is the POV-Ray distribution server and client. And hope you enjoyed this. If you can get any references out of this, that'd be great. That's what I put it on here for, so that you can get some good references. And if you want to steal the code, go ahead and steal the code. It's there for the taking. I don't really care too much. As long as you remember your old pal Robomadix when you make it to the big leagues, I'll be happy. Come back and watch some more of my videos. Help me make some more pennies. Anyways, have fun with that.